Anne Hathaway has taken to her Instagram to apologize to anyone hurt or upset due to her portrayal of the Grand High Witch in the film adaptation of Roald Dahl's children's novel The Witches. We recently covered the Warner Brothers statement released regarding the film, and now it seems we got an update. For those of you unaware, in the book, the witches are described as having claws instead of fingernails, but in the film, which is the second adaptation of the 1983 novel, Hathaway's character is seen with only 3 fingers. This decision has led to the film receiving some backlash, specifically from those within the limb difference community, who feel Hathaway's character's hands resemble people with ectrodactyly, a genetic condition where people are born missing fingers or hands. I'm gonna tell you guys all about her apology right now in InformOverload. What's happening, boys and girls? Welcome back to IO. Hope you're having yourselves a wonderful day, night, morning, evening, whatever time it is. Hope you're doing good. I'm your host, Jared Bronstein, and before we get into it, be sure to stick around for some spicy bonus content, but for now, we gotta get into it. The main concern from those within the community is that they fear stereotypes could be associated with people with disabilities or limb differences. Specifically referencing this situation, the concern is younger kids who watch the film may associate people with limb differences as evil or abnormal, which is how Hathaway's character is portrayed in the film. The backlash led to Warner Brothers releasing a statement in which they apologized and said they regret any offense they caused with their choices in the film. Amy Marin, a Paralympic athlete, voiced her concern on Twitter, tweeting, I quote, "Was there much thought given as to how this representation of limb differences would affect the limb difference community?" And Shannon Crossland, a disabilities advocate, explained the film is, I quote, "no way a reflection of the original novel written by Roald Dahl. Is this the kind of message we want the next generation to receive? That having 3 fingers is a witch's attribute? It is an extremely damaging portrayal. Disability should not be associated with evil, abnormality, disgust, fear, or monsters." Marin has continued showing her love and support for the community with one of her most recent posts using the hashtag #NotAWitch. And now it seems Anne Hathaway has decided to chime in with her thoughts regarding everything. Taking to Instagram, Hathaway posted a 4-minute video from the Lucky Finn Project, which as per their Instagram page, is a non-profit organization that exists to raise awareness and celebrate children, individuals, and families affected by limb differences. Hathaway's Instagram caption goes on to read, I quote, "I have recently learned that many people with limb differences, especially children, are in pain because of the portrayal of the Grand High Witch in The Witches. Let me begin by saying I do my best to be sensitive to the feelings and experiences of others, not out of some scrambling PC fear, but because not hurting others seems like a basic level of decency we should all be striving for. As someone who really believes in inclusivity and really detests cruelty, I owe you all an apology for the pain caused. I am sorry. I did not connect limb difference with the GHW when the look of the character was brought to me. If I had, I assure you this never would have happened. I particularly want to say I'm sorry to kids with limb differences. Now that I know better, I promise I'll do better. And I owe a special apology to everyone who loves you as fiercely as I love my own kids. I'm sorry I let your family down. If you aren't already familiar, please check out the @LuckyFinn Project video above and the #NotAWitch hashtag to get a more inclusive and necessary perspective on limb difference." Now, when I originally covered the Warner Brothers statement, Hathaway had not yet posted this, of course, and I actually asked why she hadn't spoken on it or people weren't upset with her, but the production company and director Robert Zemeckis were getting backlash. And I'm not saying this is her fault in any way, but the fact that she could recognize something she was a part of brought pain to others, and she held herself accountable for that, even if it wasn't her intention, goes to show the kind of person Anne truly is. Of course, others had opinions that this was all being blown out of proportion, but truth be told, you can't tell others how they should or shouldn't feel. It does go both ways, everyone is entitled to an opinion, but the fact that Anne recognized she caused pain and not only apologized, but is now raising awareness for the community she unintentionally hurt, leads me to believe she genuinely is sorry. Now, as always, guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts on all this down below. Did Anne have to apologize, or do you guys feel things are being blown out of proportion at this point? Let me know down below. For now, let's do some comment replies from the video. Warner Brothers apologizes after major backlash for this. Harley Quinn the Doggo said, as a disabled person, I didn't even think for a disabled individual when I saw her hands. I thought of an evil bird or creepy reptile. Well, it's very interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, I think, like I said, everyone has a different perspective, so that's what you saw. Other people see different things. I mean, my whole thing is, again, I feel that the people that are necessarily affected by this are the ones that we should listen to the most. So I appreciate you giving us your input, because there are a lot of other comments, which you will see, of people that, again, I don't know their situation, but it seems like they're just mad that, about this outrage, and I don't know if they're necessarily affected by it, so. Big Lad said, even if a child does associate 3 fingers with being evil, it's the parent's job to teach their child that having a disability is okay. We get 2 birds with 1 stone. The children learn about differences and the parents get to teach something important. That's actually a very valid point. I should have mentioned that in my video. I didn't even think about that. You are 100% correct. Children tend to make their own assumptions based off of what they see. Again, a lot of times they make their own assumptions. They have a very, large imagination, and who knows what they see as evil, what they see as good. So I think that's a very valid point, that parents should actually teach their children that, people with disabilities or limb differences are no different than anybody else. And we're all the same, we're all human, we're all equal, and we all love each other equally. Or at least we should. So that's a very valid point. I agree with you on that one. Elisa Reed said, "This is ridiculous. Everyone is entitled to their feelings, but this is a fantasy movie about monsters, not disabled people." Although I somewhat agree with that. Again, a lot of the comments were about the outrage. I do understand what you're saying, but again, like, as someone who does not have limb differences, for me to be like, this is ridiculous, they can't be outraged, like, I don't have the day-to-day of that, right? So for me to have an opinion on it, I just feel like it's kind of unwarranted. Yeah, so I mean, all in all, guys, gonna wrap this one up, but I'm pretty much just saying, like, I personally would give the most weight of the opinion to those within the limb difference community, and just because I feel, they're the ones that are most affected by this, so they're the ones that we should listen to the most in regards to this. If they're upset, then it's fully warranted, and if they're not, that's okay too, but, for me to just stand here and be like, it's crazy, I think that's a little ridiculous. So my opinion only, you guys have your opinions, and that's why we're all human, and it's great, and we can all have an opinion, so that's wonderful. Anyways, guys, wishing you lots of love, have yourselves a great weekend. I've been your host, Jared Bronstein, and we'll see you soon.